You're watching Service Drive, exclusively on CBT News.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining me on another edition of Service Drive right here at CBTnews.com. From rising labor costs to parts shortages and increasing customer expectations, profitability in fixed ops has never been more critical. Joining us to share his recommendations on how to increase net profit in service and parts is Mr. Lee Harkins, President and CEO of M5 Management Services. Lee, thank you so much for joining us once again on the show. It's been a little while, but welcome back to Service Drive.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you having me.
What operational changes have you seen make the biggest impact on a dealership's service lane profitability?
All right, so there's a couple things that I highly recommend that dealers do. Number one, now we're going to steal a whole lot of philosophy from the sales department.
Okay.
All right. Now I want you to think about the sales department. There's not a dealer out there that I know, and there might be one that does not know by the minute how many units they have over the curb from the new car or used car department.
That is exactly right.
So what they do is that is a focus of their department.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm talking to a dealer, I say, okay, so what's your focus of the service department? And they look at me like I got three heads. And I said, listen, your service department is no different than what you're doing in your sales department.
That's right.
You make it important to everybody that you know and that they know how many units they have burning gas. And the same thing applies, except in the service department, it's all about the hours. So I'll go and do a presentation to a group of dealers. And I always get somebody that comes up and says, hey, Lee, tell me, what do I have to do to really kick it up? And I say to them, you have to expect more. Well, they think I'm a smart aleck when I say that, but I'm very sincere when I say that. So the first thing is that understand that the service department, the units that we have are flat rate hours,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, what happens a lot, and we've talked about this in the past, people are focused on all these variables, and we're going to use this technology and we're going to do this. But this business is still about pressing flesh and fixing cars,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we've got to fix cars. But our units is the number of flat rate hours that we produce.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we do has a time standard assigned to it.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, we look at the time standard and we have a number. And so what we take from the sales department and we put it into the service department with a twist is we do the same thing. We set sales objectives. So let's set production objectives.
Yeah.
Let's hold people accountable to a standard of how to operate the business. And the biggest standard we have is that each technician can produce X number of hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's expect a little bit more out of them. Let's set performance standards.
Yeah.
But develop the focus and the culture within your service department. It's all about the flat rate hours.
That's right.
And really get aggressive on knowing. So they'll come up to me and they'll ask me, Jim, what's the magic pill? I said, first of all, you got to ask very predictable questions. There's not a sales manager out there right now, we're in the afternoon, that is not anticipating a phone call from the retailer on how many do we have burning gas,
Mm-hmm.
how many do we have working,
Yep.
and we do exactly the same thing in the service department. Yeah. But we do it based on hours. And so I asked the retailers, ask three questions every single day. Number one, how many hours did we produce yesterday? Number two, what's your overall effective labor rate?
Mm-hmm.
And number three is how many repair orders did we write?
Mm-hmm.
If we were consistent in doing that every single day, it changes the entire personality and culture of the service department.
Yeah. I could totally see that. There's no question.
Yeah.
Everything is about accountability. And I think in the auto industry,
Yes,
we sometimes are very, very good at that. To your point,
Mm-hmm.
variable ops knows exactly what that, the next car that rolls over the curb, they know if that's number 101 or 51 or 151, they know it.
Absolutely.
They know the gross,
Yep.
they know the running gross, they know the whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, when that dealer calls, that dealer principal and says, hey, what do you got burning gas today? And then also month to date, that
That's right.
GM better, or that sales manager better have the answer for that. Because if
That's right.
the moment they don't, that dealer loses confidence in the manager because they know that that person needs to hold it. So I agree with you. That same kind of accountability does need to be. It hasn't been in fixed ops. It's been more of
That's
a
right.
weekly. Where do you stand? What you ahead, you behind, whatever. But if it is a daily routine like that, and it would be a routine to the point
Yes,
that
sir. Absolutely.
you know whether it be the GM that's calling, the dealer principal, whoever it is, that you've got to answer to. Bingo, here are the numbers that you're looking for. And I could totally see where it changes the culture in the service drive and in fixed ops. When they know that call's coming, and I also know right up to the day, am I ahead or behind of where I need to be, right?
And do you want to tell them we don't have any, or we got a bad day, right? The sales managers prepare for the call.
Yep.
And if it's bad news, they're going to wrap it up and make it as a pretty presentation as they possibly can.
That's right.
Hey, boss, we don't have anything over the curb yet, but we got a bunch working and we're going to get something happening.
That's right.
At least there's some enthusiasm to a mission or to an objective.
That's right.
Jim, if you look at the most basic financial equation of a service department, cut through all the production numbers and the measuring this and the measuring that, it comes down to basically two numbers. How many flat rate hours did we produce times the effective rate overall equals the sales.
Yeah.
Sales less cost of sales equals gross. Gross less expenses equals net. And that's the sweetest two words we're ever going to hear in this business. Net profit.
It's pretty simple when you think about it, isn't it? I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But see, what's happening is we've got an influx of technology right now.
Yeah.
And with all this technology coming in, we're getting focused in other different areas that really, and I'm not dissing some of them, but it really, at the end of the day, doesn't add a lot. What we can do is we can add a lot to the production. So if we could increase the production of a store by just 10%, all right, and let's say they have 10 to 15 technicians, in some cases that could be $200,000 or $300,000 of additional net just by focusing on that number. And then what I ask the retailers to do is, once you hear we did 100, we did 100, we did 100, now expect 120. Raise the level. We do it in sales. We do it in all businesses. There's got to be a set of goals.
That's right. And then when you've got that historical data on a daily basis to go back and go, okay, where were we on this day a year ago, right?
Yes.
You've got something, a little bit better to track. Yeah, there's no question about it.
Absolutely.
I interviewed a dealer who has got these big TVs in their service department. And in real time, it gives those the people inside the service center, in real time, it gives them where they stand, what they set up for, where they stand. Have you seen that before? And what's your take on dealers going in that direction?
I was in a store last week that they had that monitor hanging in the service department.
Yeah.
And what was really cool was they had their performance to the objective.
Yep.
And so the technician could see in real time where he stood or she stood.
Yeah.
And what their percentage of completion to the objective was. The idea of objectives, you got to keep it in front of them and you got to expect them to hit it, but you also have to manage it and you got to talk about it. So what we do in service a lot is we hold a morning sales meeting, just like they do in the sales department.
Right.
We do a little huddle up. Your objective yesterday was 8 and you did 9. You give them an attaboy. That's a great job. You really knocked it out of the park, because we know that the work you had was some pretty difficult work, but you made it happen.
That's
And there ain't nobody in that store, Jim, that doesn't like a pat on the back or an attaboy, or to be called out in front of his peers and said, you did a good job.
That's right.
And I call it psychological income. You got to give them that income.
Yeah, for sure. Switching gears a little bit, how should dealers approach inventory management for parts to maximize margin without tying up, too much capital?
That's a great question. And what a lot of people are doing now is that they are spreading out, or they're decreasing. A lot of the manufacturers are allowing them to order weekly. And there's a great opportunity here for us, because the thing that you got to remember is every part sitting on that shelf in the parts department is cash. So we got to maximize the value of cash. Cash has a value.
Right.
And so we want to maximize that cash. So what a lot of people are doing is they're skinnying back the amount of inventory, not coverage now, but they're skinnying back the depth of the inventory because they get to order on a weekly basis.
Right.
And the focus on the fast moving parts, and again, working production in the service department, that increases the turn because for every hour we produce, we're selling more parts.
That's right.
So you're turning your cash quicker, and everybody benefits. This store that I'm sitting in right now, I just penciled a pro forma for them in parts. They can make almost $800,000 in additional gross by improving the production in the service department. So it has a profound impact across the board.
Yeah, no question about it. Wow, that's when you think about all of the money that a dealer can make just by tightening up these different areas, right? Without any more advertising, without any even additional manpower, or more computers or more technology, whatever. Just tightening up these little areas that I know you're very good at when you go into a dealership, finding those areas and saying, hey, if we just do 10% more here, we do 8% more here, we do 5% more here, without any real dollars or investment coming out of the dealer over and above what they're already spending. It is mind-boggling. And I say this often, a dealer can get drunk on the good times and the gross profit. Obviously, we saw that through COVID, where they were just, everything's working. We're making so much money. And as you know, bad habits are created during very good times like that.
That's right.
So right now, it's a question of tightening things up, right? Like you just pointed out. As we go into 2026, there may be some headwinds out there. I know there's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace. We don't know where things are going to end up. And of course, with all the talk of tariffs and whatever, not to be negative Nancy here, but this is a good time to do an audit in your dealership, especially in your fixed ops department, right?
We in this store that we're in right now, their gross numbers on part sales, and understand that when I'm working with a store, one of the biggest opportunities that we have is customer pay, because what's happened across the industry is a lot of people they receive significant increases in their warranty rates. And some of these people got 50, 60, 70 bucks an hour on the warranty work because of legislation that happened in the state. And what happens is they see that influx of gross. Well, then they de-intensify on the business. Now, what's going to happen is the good ship lollipop's going to sink. You can only go so far. The manufacturers will let you go so far. That customer pay business in a lot of stores has become secondary to the warranty because they're making such big numbers.
Right.
But to your point, anybody can make money during COVID because that was the craziest time we've seen in this business.
That's right.
But we've got to stay focused on growing that customer pay and keeping that customer coming back.
That's right. And that was my next topic here in terms of loyalty and engaging that customer today to ensure that they are going to come back tomorrow. I mean, dealership service departments now are really under attack by so many other elements out there, right? I mean, in terms of all of the independents that are out there that want that same customer. If you live anywhere in the country, your mailbox is getting bombarded right now with all kinds of offers, postcards of all sizes, for all kinds of different service of your vehicle. And they're all up against the dealer that you bought from. And it seems like they want your customer, in some cases, more than the dealership wants that customer back, right?
And what we're seeing, Jim, is that a lot of the advisors we've as an industry, we've increased the labor rates, and it was all because of the rate that we got for warranty. So we increased the customer pay. But what we didn't increase, and I talk a lot about this with retailers, is we did not increase the perceived value for the money the customer is spending. So where we are with the economy, in my opinion, is that discretionary income for people is really crunched. We're still have prices that are up, even though there's a lot of conversation that prices are coming down, and I hope they continue to do that. But right now, they want value for their money.
That's right.
Because that money that they're doing, and I use this analogy, people don't save money every week with the hopes of getting to buy a water pump one day, right? I mean, it just happens.
That's right.
Right. And all of a sudden I need to spend $500 it doesn't feel good because my discretionary income has been really condensed because of all the other things. So who am I thinking about?
That's right.
The dealer has to be first in their mind because they have a value,
Yeah.
an extra perceived value for that money.
That's right.
And one of the strongest assets that we have in the store is our technicians, but we never talk about them.
I know.
And so what I'm working with advisors on now is doing an inventory of assets on each of the technicians. Tell me what their qualifications are. Tell me what their fixed rate first time scores. And then we work those sales points in to add that extra value
I like
to the
that.
transaction.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense. But what has to happen is we got to think about our business differently today than we did 5, 6, 7 years ago, even 3 years ago
I
for
know.
that matter.
I know.
So it's a moving target,
Yeah.
but that's what makes this business so much fun.
That's
You
right.
know, it's working in this business and coming up with strategies to really help the retailers improve their business. And
Yep.
it's fun.
No question. And I appreciate all the time you're giving me. Just one or two more questions here.
Sure.
A proponent of mobile service. Are you on board with that for the dealerships that are out there? I talked to a lot of them, that especially Ford, who's made a big commitment. There's some that have got like 30 and 40 trucks on the road, which completely blows me away. But are you telling dealers that they should be going down that road?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that if you were to Google mobile service in the Atlanta area where you are, or even in my area in Birmingham, and I've done this. I Google mobile service. Now, not only are the dealers in it, but there has already been a number of independent vendors that are doing mobile service.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that I tell people about mobile service is we buy based on 5 thoughts. Okay. The first thought is that we need it.
Yeah.
Then what trumps everything after that is convenience. And if it's convenient for me to purchase, then they're going to get first consideration. Look at how Uber Eats and DoorDash and all
Yeah.
those people
That's
have
right.
grown. You know, we pay a premium
Yeah.
for that extra value or
That's
that
right.
extra convenience. And so I'm all in on mobile service.
Yeah.
There's an industry out there that's growing that we're not seeing. I work with a lot of the manufacturers on it, and I would tell you, in my opinion, the manufacturers that I've worked with, every one of them are seriously considering some type of mobile service solution
Yeah.
because it just makes sense.
Yeah. It really.
If I can call the store and have you come to my club, come to my office. Think about how much more convenient it is. I'm working 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be awesome if they could come and service my car
Oh.
while it's sitting in the lot
Incredible.
and do
Yeah.
it right there?
No brainer. No brainer. And then
It's a
all
no-brainer.
and
Absolutely.
I've said this before on the show, and that is all of the people in that cul-de-sac or in that subdivision or in that apartment building, whatever the case might be, that see that truck with that dealer's name on it fixing your car. Well, you just sold 4 more cars that people go, wait a second. They came to you to fix your vehicle? I'm going to buy my next car there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And if they don't buy it, it's serious consideration,
Yeah,
right? And
right.
that's what we're trying to gain is
Yep.
is get the consideration as the vendor of choice and get them to come and talk to us. And if
That's
we
right.
can do that, we probably got a good shot at closing that deal.
That's right. That's right. Now for the final $64,000 question, and the final, I promise,
Okay.
is the final one because I know you're a busy guy. What's the biggest opportunity that you see in service and parts in the service and parts department in the next 12 to 24 months?
Wow. I would tell you the biggest that I see is customer pay labor.
Okay.
Customer labor is the biggest opportunity. We're in stores every week, and what I'm seeing is the customer pay repair order traffic is dropping. And it's dropping. And again, there's always exceptions to the rule. There's
Yeah.
always, we'll go into a store that they may be up, a couple percentage points, but nobody is really focused on growing that customer pay business
Right.
aggressively. And again, my definition of aggressive is a little different than some of them in the store because that's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
But I want to see, significant growth year over year in customer pay.
Mm-hmm.
To do that, you got to keep them coming back. To
Yeah.
keep them coming back, you got to give them a value
Yep.
for the money.
That's right.
And the retailers have to sit down and think. And I asked a group of service managers this week in a meeting I was in, and I said, so I'm a retail customer. Tell me why I should do business with you. And I asked these silly questions, right? But what happens is I would tell you that the majority of the service managers, when I ask them that question, give me 3 canned answers every time. Factory parts, factory trained technicians, and we got good prices. And I tell them that's hogwash. That's not true. and even, let's assume for a second that is true.
Yeah.
Factory trained technician has no value until we assign a value to their status.
Yeah.
And when you
Good
really
point.
dig into the value of a senior master technician and most of the manufacturers, for that technician, number one, is the highest achievement that a technician can receive with
Yeah.
that manufacturer.
Yeah.
Number two, there is a ton of experience that goes into achieving that level.
Yeah.
Number three, when they achieve that level, they have accomplished something.
Yep.
But we never talk about them.
No.
We have good prices and we got, factory parts. Everybody says that. So that makes all the stores also runs and they're all the same.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got to stand out.
Yeah, that's a very good, very, very good point. And maybe that should be listed right out in the service drive to say, here is a picture of our factory trained master technicians and maybe some of their background and what have you.
Yep.
And, you know what I mean?
But if we could work in to the conversation when we sell work to the customer.
Yeah.
And what I like to train advisors on is, listen, Joe, our senior master technician, I'm extremely proud of this gentleman. Let me tell you a little bit about him. And my lips are loaded with what to say, the value points. So now when I ask him to spend the money, hey, this is a skilled tech. It goes down a little bit easier. That's what I'm.
That's a very, very good point, because we take it for granted when we say those things. But to your point, what does it really mean to the consumer unless they know more, unless you drill down a little further?
So let's talk about it. That is our competitive advantage. One of our biggest competitive advantages over the independents is we have factory technicians that were trained by the factory in the current models, and they know their business.
That's right.
And we just sell it.
That's right.
We got to sell it.
And now you dealers and service directors out there know why we love to bring Lee Harkins in, because he knows he knows the deal. You're looking to increase your service profitability, your dealership's profitability, your CSI, your ESI among your employees that are in service. Lee Harkins is probably one of the top 3 in the nation that I know of to bring into your dealership to do just that. So M5 Management Services, you can find them online. Thank you so much, Lee, for coming by. We very much appreciate it and spending some time with us here at Service Drive.
Always a pleasure, Jim.
Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Service Drive, exclusively on CBT News.